All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get this presentation rolling. I'm sure there'll be some more people hopping on. I just want to go ahead and uh, get it started. So once again, we are here with IES Texas Solar, and we're going to be discussing the possibilities and energy efficiency that IES could bring to your ranch as an additive to everything else. And I have Justin Charles with me here. He is going to be the presenter today. So I'm going to turn things over to him and let him give an introduction of who IES Texas is and how they could help your ranch. So Justin, floor is yours.
Hey, thanks so much, Grayson. Hello, everybody. You said my name's Justin Charles. I'm here with IES Texas Solar. That's our residential brand. I might also mention IES Energy Solutions. That's our commercial brand, depending on if we're working with you as a homeowner or if we're working with you as a business. IES Texas Solar has 4 major branches in Texas in the major metropolitan areas, but we do cover the entire state. So there's no problem depending on where you are throughout the state of Texas. And we even cover commercial properties outside of the state of Texas across the country. We have a national presence in that aspect for whatever it is you're looking to do in the commercial sphere, be it a ranch or a farming operation, a breeding operation, et cetera. IES at its core is a very special type of business. While we're a very large national publicly traded company, we want to still feel like a hometown neighbor business. We want to be approachable. We find fundamental qualities in maintaining our integrity, the quality of equipment that we put in, empowering our consumers to have the best equipment, the best systems, ensuring that it's what they need for their particular business or home, as opposed to just kind of giving a cookie cutter system that we try to slam into everybody's business. And we try to have a good sense of humor at the same time while we do it. We don't want to become a rigid, stuffy corporate animal. So IES Residential, which is our parent company, was founded in 1973 as the merger of 4 major electrical companies in the Texas area, became publicly traded as IES Holdings Company over the years. We do about $1.2, $1.3 billion in total revenue. And we have over 2,000 employees just in the residential portion of our business. In total, IES as a company has over 6,000 employees, a vast majority of which have been here over 10 years, some over 25, 30 years. We as an entity feel it's very important to find those values that make people want to be with us long-term, as opposed to finding people who are here for a short-term job, people who can be with us for a very long time, enjoy their careers, enjoy their livelihood. IES is I think a very special place in that aspect, rather than your average Joe electric company who's in and out the door with a lot of staff rotation. One of the very special things about IES when it comes to solar, especially as we'll talk later, is a lot of solar companies have been around for 10 years or less. And with solar, a lot of our equipment has a 25-year plus warranty period. It's 50-year lifespans. And having a company that's promising you a warranty for less than half the time or a third the time their company's been open doesn't always give you a lot of comfort and security, as where we've been around for 50 years. It's really easy to know that we're going to be there to honor a warranty on a 25-year product. And we have to do business in that way because we know we're going to be here to honor that warranty. So IES is organized into several different divisions: residential, commercial, communications, HVAC. Each one of those divisions has its own office. And we treat those divisions like their own small business, and they have to succeed on their own terms. So we tend to really delve into every one of our relationships like we're a small business. Our solar division survives on its own and thrives on its own. And we need to ensure that our customers are happy in the long run, whether it's here for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. But we have the backing of our national organization. And even though we might come to you just to discuss solar, we have the ability to facilitate all of the various services that IES could offer, whether it's other electrical upgrades, needing communications work done, or building out other types of electrical infrastructure that you need. So myself, I'm the Energy Solutions Manager here. I started in solar in 2010, forming my own solar company in Pennsylvania. And I helped grow that company from being a small player in Pennsylvania to being a multi-state solar firm, working from New York and Connecticut down to Washington, D.C. And after time, we added other energy efficiencies, LED lighting, generator, and high efficiency HVAC. I'm NABCEP certified. NABCEP is the, I say, gold standard industry certification. And after a few years, I was added to the exam writing committee for NABCEP. So I helped prepare the exams that other people took to gain that certification. I closed down Lenape in 2018 to help a friend of mine grow their solar company from being smaller than mine was to being significantly larger than mine was in the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, that area. And in 2020, I was given the opportunity to join IES and help grow our solar division here, which I found to be a phenomenal and fascinating opportunity. And since I've come on board here, I've grown our staff by about 5 times, and we've grown from just doing solar projects in this division to also doing generators, energy storage, and recently adding some smart home controls. And we're continuing to grow that basis of things that we offer here in the Energy Solutions division and the types of customers that we're working with and the opportunities that we're pursuing. So, as I said, we're a division of IES Residential. We have over 3,000 projects throughout the state of Texas, and we maintain a 5.0 rating on all of those projects that we're working on in the various review platforms that you could find. All those projects in and throughout Texas have been done over the last 10, 12 years that IES has been doing solar in Texas. And this is what a large, beautiful solar project could look like. This is about 1 megawatt of solar on top of a school roof. So why solar? That's why we're here. Solar is a very affordable solution that has a very long-term reliability, a fantastic warranty, and over the last many years, the equipment has improved dramatically over what people tend to think or know. We find that a lot of people who have looked at solar, looked at it once, maybe 5, 10 years ago, found it to be very expensive or the equipment wasn't quite what they wanted, and then haven't really looked at it again since. And over those 5 or 10 years, there have been dramatic improvements in solar, both in cost, quality, and it really makes sense to look at it again and understand why it's a benefit for your business or your home. And I'm going to focus a little bit on businesses today, but a lot of this is true for homeowners as well. So over the last 10 years, the cost of solar has decreased about 70%. And that's not just the base material, it's the whole process. The associated labor to install solar, while the cost of labor, the raw cost may have gone up if you look at inflation, the time it takes to install the PV system has gone down because the equipment has gotten better and easier to install. The physical equipment has dropped in price dramatically, and the efficiency of the equipment has gone up. So you need less equipment and usually a smaller footprint to get the same energy offset that you were looking for before. There are a lot of ways to finance solar, including many solutions that require zero money down investment on behalf of the end consumer. And so you can see instant savings, depending on exactly what it is you're looking for. So one of the things that's very important to understand, though, about solar is that a lot of the incentives are tax-based. So if you're looking at this from a investment standpoint for your business, there is a tax credit that is non-refundable, and then there's accelerated depreciation. In order to monetize those things, you have to have taxes that you owe to the government. So we need to look at what your tax basis is and be able to discuss that openly to see how quickly you can recoup that investment. But if you don't have taxes that you owe the government directly, let's say you're in a position where you have a ton of depreciation or a ton of other tax subsidies or carry forward losses, there are financing mechanisms for a business where somebody else can take those tax incentives for you. And so we can still provide financing options that will get you no out-of-pocket costs and see a savings where somebody else helps monetize those tax benefits for you. Equipment has improved dramatically over the years. So our solar panels are a higher wattage and a higher efficiency, which means we can get the same energy offset with fewer solar panels. It means we can get it into a smaller area, or if you had an area that was restricted and you couldn't get the offset you wanted, we can get more energy out of that same space. The systems that support the modules have become slightly better and more advanced. The inverters are infinitely more intelligent, which helps deal with things like shading. So we can deal with slightly shaded areas better. Because we have more advanced equipment, things weigh less, so we can do it on roofs that may not have been able to support solar in the past. So, and the way we use our technology has improved a lot. Most of our shade analysis is done with drones now, so we'll do a drone flight over a property, and we can really do an advanced analysis on shading with the modeling of the exact nature of what's happening on the property. If you wanted to say, hey, what would happen if I cut down these trees, we can delete them from the model and see what additional production would be produced, et cetera. So our tools for designing and producing the solar estimates has dramatically increased as well. Your equipment has a 25-year warranty for the most part. Your main components are the inverters and the solar panels. Your modules have typically a 25 or 30-year warranty on their production. And most inverters in the commercial space start with a 10-year warranty and can be upgraded to a 20 or a 25-year warranty, depending on the brand. There is a workmanship warranty that comes from IES for 10 years on the workmanship of what we've done and what we've installed. And then IES is here to ensure that for the life of this product, everything has been done and taken care of. Now, when I say there's a 25-year warranty on the product, that's really just the warranty. Like your TV comes with a 1-year warranty. If you threw your TV away every year when its 1-year warranty was up, please let me know. I'll come over to your house and be there like clockwork. But these products should produce energy long past the warranty expiration, probably long past any of us will be alive or care. They'll just do it at a slightly decreased energy output than it was put in initially to do. There are solar panels in the field that have been producing energy for 50 continuous years. So the product is really robust and it lasts a very long time. and it's reliable. You know, as it says there, the sun comes up every day. In fact, I've always been willing to offer a money-back guarantee if the sun ever runs out of power. Even if there is a low level of sunlight, you still will produce energy. If there's some shade, if there's clouds, if there's overcast, PV produces energy pretty much any time unless it is dark outside. And I even have seen systems produce on an extremely rare occasion 1 or 2 watts overnight with a really clear sky and a really bright full moon, which is something really neat to see. There's a very low failure rate, and all of these systems come with real-time monitoring, so we can see what's happening, what kind of errors, if there are any, and we can dispatch maintenance crews to come repair things, often before a customer even knows there's a problem. But you can always see what's going on with your system and know if there's an issue. And most of the time, though, solar is set and forget. Very few moving parts, if any moving parts, and it just allows the system to sit there and work. So overall, these systems have almost no money. They have a barrier to entry, which is cost. However, there are financing options that provide a no money down option, and then payback periods that range for business consumers between 3 and 12 years, depending on where you are, what you're paying for electricity, and what type of incentives there can be in your area. Every project is pretty unique, and so we like to really do what we call consultative engineering, where we come out, we take a look at your farm or your setup, discuss what your particular needs are, and try to solve that need in specific, rather than trying to give you a very cookie cutter, here's what we do and we do this for everybody type of answer. Now, for the Deer Association in specific, we understand that a lot of your needs have to do with keeping energy on and available, as opposed to just reducing the cost of your operations. One of the things that's a misconception about solar a lot is that it's going to provide you energy all the time. When the grid goes down, solar turns off. It stops producing energy for a myriad of reasons, and one of the most important is just safety. It has to prevent power from going back into the grid when the energy goes down, so that people working on the grid don't get electrocuted trying to fix it. The way that you can keep your solar on and still producing energy is by putting in an energy storage system, a battery system of some sort. The solar would then recharge the batteries, and that supports some set of critical loads. Those critical loads can be a couple of fridges and freezers, it can be cold beer, TV, and an air conditioner, or it can be an attempt to power your entire home or your entire operation. The exact brand of equipment, the exact size of the system, and the cost vary dramatically based off of what it is you're looking to power, how long you want it to run in an outage, and where all those loads are in your system. Energy storage systems can be a great solution for a good number of people, depending on exactly what their concerns are. But to be very clear and transparent, battery systems sometimes cost more than the entire rest of the PV system itself, depending on what your goals are. These can be a very high cost of entry option when what you're looking to do is secure or have grid reliability or energy reliability in case of an outage. For most consumers that are looking for energy stability in case of an outage, what they're really looking for is a generator. Having a generator that will give them emergency power for critical loads or their whole operation during a prolonged or short-term or prolonged outage. The cost of entry for a generator is usually significantly lower. The ability to get it up and running is much faster. and the long-term costs tend to be lower. However, it is a whole different animal. You're not necessarily using a renewable resource, you're using a fossil fuel, and depending on what your exact needs are or what your goals are, there could be a need to have both batteries and a generator, just batteries, or just a generator. We're a Generac certified dealer and maintenance provider. We do natural gas, LP, and diesel generators from 10 kW up to 150 kW. And that gives us the ability to understand what your needs are and try to design the best solution for your needs. Whether it's keeping critical fridges online, which could just be a single phase or a three-phase generator. It could be looking at solar. It could be looking at solar and a generator, or solar and batteries, or solar batteries and a generator. We can also do ancillary electric work at the same time, or try to help facilitate any number of other solutions that you're looking for at your facility. All of these same services are available for home consumers as well. Financing structures look a little bit different when you are a home consumer versus a business consumer. And unfortunately, depreciation isn't available for homeowners, and it is available for business consumers. So paybacks can look a little bit better when you're a business owner if you're focused on the financial aspect. If you're looking at the energy production aspect, or exactly how it benefits your farm in the long term, then that's something that we can do there on the business side a little bit differently. So that was a small introduction to what we can do for you at IES Texas Solar and IES Energy Solutions. I appreciate everybody joining us today. And if you'd like a consultation, please let us know. We'll be happy to come out and take a look at your particular operations. And if you have any particular questions, I'd be happy to go into more detail about any number of things, or even your situations in particular, and what we might be able to help you do. Or if there are questions about financing or systems.
Thanks, Justin. I know we had set a time for Q&A, so if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask just while we have everyone here, feel free to just type it in the chat corner, or you can just submit a question. I did have a couple questions just because I don't know too much about this. So say I'm a ranch owner, and whether it's in whatever part of Texas, what does a typical, I know you said y'all don't do cookie cutter style things and everyone's different, but what does a typical setup look like? Is it only mounted on roofs? Is it you come out and you make a certain section and it's all on stilts, or how does that look? And then what's like a typical time frame that it takes to set something like that up? I know everything's different, but yeah.
So we do both roof mounts and ground mounts. Typically, a roof mount will cost less than a ground mount until you get to a pretty large size ground mount. Just because if you think about it, on a ground mount, we're building a steel structure to mount the solar panels to, as opposed to on a roof, you already have a structure and we're just putting rails on it and then putting the solar panels on it. So the cost differential is really that we're building a structure to put the panels on. But it doesn't necessarily make it non-cost justifiable. You just spend a little bit more money when you're building a ground mount structure. So roofs are preferred, or the first choice that we look for is a good southern facing roof that we can work on. And then after that, we would move to the ground, especially if there isn't enough space on the roof to get your power requirements or your desired offset. And then we would trench back and connect to your power from the ground mount. The typical time frame for a solar project is usually in the consultative process, it's 1 to 2 weeks, if that, for us to come out, look at your property, figure out with you what it is you're really looking to do, and provide you with a quote, make certain it's the right answer, and then design and contract. And then the typical project is 45 to 75 days from contract to installation. And the various factors in that have to do with how long it takes to get permits and how long it takes to execute an interconnection agreement between us and the utility company to put that system in. Because until we have the permits authorized and we have the permission from the utility company to put the system in, we don't want to proceed in case one of them requires us to change something.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So say I have an area with 2 acres and no roof space. Could you generate more power than you consume, and then could you like profit off that for solar for providing for my own needs or our needs?
Yes and no. So the catch, a lot of utility companies will allow you to sell some energy back. However, typically what they do is they allow you to sell that energy back at what we call an avoided cost rate. The avoided cost rate is supposed to represent what they spend on electricity from the grid. However, most often it is a mythical rate that makes no sense compared to what they actually spend for electricity. So let's say you're buying electricity from them at 10 cents. They'll say, that's fine, we'll let you offset your electricity at 10 cents, but everything you send back to us, we're only going to pay you 2 cents for.
Okay.
Even though on your bill it really clearly says you're paying them 5 cents per kilowatt hour, and then there are these other fees that you're offsetting plus tax. But they'll only give
Gotcha.
you 2 cents for the extra electricity.
Okay.
In some areas, you might be able to separately meter off some of that. And let's say you have a business right next to you, and you want to try to send some extra power over to that business, and they agree to buy it from you for 8 cents. Well, you have to look at exactly what rules are allowed in that utility, and if you're allowed to sell electricity by the kilowatt hour to somebody else. In some areas of Texas, you are. In the vast majority of Texas, you are not. Typically, we want to try to size a system between 50% and 110% of your expected usage, just depending on exactly what it is your utility rate is and what your rules are for interconnection and how they allow us to offset energy in your area.
Okay. Thank you. The next question I have is, what is like an estimated pre-tax cost of a roof-mounted system large enough to power, say, a 5,000 square foot house?
So that's always one of the questions that's hard for me to answer. Houses, you'll see people who have a house that it's 5,000 square feet, that uses 3 times the electricity of the next customer and a quarter the electricity of the average consumer. What we tend to look at is kilowatt hours consumption per month, or an annual usage, or a dollar amount per month. So I'm going to pick a number and say that the utility bill is around $350 a month for your 5,000 square foot house. And if that's totally wrong, you can just toss up another dollar amount you want to say there for your utility bill. But if you were using $350 a month and you were paying around 10 cents per kilowatt hour, in most of Texas, we'd be looking at something like a 29 kW system to try to offset all of that. And let's say that would be probably around $77,000.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, just having some questions come in. Thanks for thanks for asking that, and thanks for answering that. Another question I have is, does solar just run the lights, or can it run? So it can run all the barns and refrigerating. What about like water and heating systems and things like that? Out at the ranch. So, a lot of our members have big deer breeding operations and have huge barns, hunting lodges, and just all that other. So it can pretty much power all of that, correct? Or
Right.
how does that? Or talk me through that.
Yeah. So once you attach solar to your electricity system, it doesn't matter where the power is. Your property is going to consume that power in real time. If you use, I think of it like, I try to describe it like two competing pumps. So the solar is producing energy and you're consuming energy. If you're consuming more energy than the solar is outputting, then all the energy that the solar is outputting just gets consumed immediately, and any extra you need comes in from the grid. If you are consuming less than the solar is outputting, then it still consumes everything you need, or everything that it needs, and the excess pushes back out through your meter to the grid. Solar only augments or enhances what you're doing. It never detracts. So you'd never be in a position where your solar isn't producing enough power, so something shuts down, your water heater can't work because you don't have enough solar power. It still gets energy from the grid just like it did before. The only time that would be a concern is if you tried to cut away from the grid, and we're talking either you wanted to disconnect from the grid, or you're talking about during a power outage situation where you're trying to support it with batteries or a generator. Then we have to worry about how much power you're using at one time, and if we have enough energy to support all the various devices you want to be powered at that one point in time.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Sweet. Okay. So I guess just as a whole, so just as a ranch owner, what would what's the so what would be, I guess, I know pretty much this entire conversation, I guess, what would be the biggest benefit for a ranch owner, for them having solar as an
So
addition to other.
the biggest benefit is a reduction in operating costs for the ranch. So if you're looking at adding solar, there are very few things that you can look at just flat out removing or reducing from your operating expenses, and electricity is one of them now. So depending on where and how you choose to make capital investments, this is a place where you can spend money, see an appreciable payback or a return on investment, and eventually stop paying an electric bill or dramatically reduce what you pay for an electric bill. The cost of electricity has traditionally and always gone up over time. So you're buying energy independence and energy stability. You're saying that I can guarantee that I will get, let's say if it's 10,000 kilowatt hours a month from this system, you're going to buy that once and know that it's going to produce that for the next 25 years. And so the cost of that energy gets cheaper over time because you've paid for it. You paid for it one time, you got a tax credit, you depreciated the system. So by the time you look at its energy production over, let's say 25 years, you may have paid 3 cents or 4 cents per kilowatt hour for that energy versus continuing to pay 10 cents right now, and that increases over time every year to the utility company. So you're outright just pre-buying a really low electricity rate. And then if you add a generator to that or battery backup, you're guaranteeing yourself stability from the standpoint of, I know when the power goes out that I've got these critical loads backed up, and I don't have to worry about whether or not my freezer's full of food or my critical needs, if it is, sperm repositories or anything else that are for, your $1 million deer, are all of a sudden going to go offline, be it the middle of the winter or the middle of the summer.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all the questions I have. If anyone else has any more questions, feel free to just submit them, and then, or what's the best way to contact y'all? We'll post all of your media and all of the contact information for our listeners who are going to listen to this later on. So tell what's the best way to get in contact with y'all?
I would say that giving us a call at IES Texas Solar, or I'm sorry, 855-44-SOLAR. Visit us online at iestexassolar.com, or I just dropped a link into the audience that you can click on and request a solar quote at any time. And we'll schedule a time to come out and meet with you, whether it is at your home or your ranch or wherever it is you're looking to try to gain some energy independence or stability.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have. So just want to give a thank you to IES for being here and giving us a run through and talking about how solar energy can benefit your ranch. We'll post all of this online, and I'll share the video later on, and people who weren't able to attend can listen. So yeah, thank you for everyone who's here. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close down?
I'll just thank you very much for your time today, and hopefully we get to talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everyone else. We'll wrap this up for today, and we hope everyone has a great rest of your afternoon. We'll tune in for the next one. Thank y'all.